2 minutes on the clock. One minute down, 1 minute to go. Thirty seconds remaining. If you don't have an answer, that's okay, but I want you to pick a random one and put it in because I want to see 100% participation. "15 seconds. If you have to guess, you can guess. But make sure you answer it in the poll. That way I can see who knows and who doesn't know. All right, 5, 4, 3. Make sure you put it in the poll. 2. You guys all put it in? Yeah? Okay. And time. So I like to do the poll because the poll shows me which questions are easy questions and which ones we need to work on. So let me show you guys. What do you guys think? Is this an easy question or do I need to explain it a little bit based on the answers? Yeah, we got like almost 50-50 on this one. So 6 people chose B, but 4 people chose D, which means that between B and D, there's one little difference that we got to check out. So let's take a look. So it's asking me which one is equivalent, which means I need to take what I have and do some stuff to it. So what is one thing I can do with my expression?
Distribute.
Distribute, yeah.
Distribute.
Yeah. So I can distribute the 2. And what about that minus sign?
Distribute the negative.
Minus sign applies to the second one.
Yeah, it becomes a
Distribute the
negative.
negative.
Becomes a -1. And that -1 also has to be distributed. So I'm distributing not only the 2, but also the -1. So when I distribute 2, I get 6g minus 8. And when I distribute the -1, I get -8g minus 3. Then what can I do?
Combine
Combine
like
like terms.
Combine like terms. So I have 6g and -8g. What would that be? 6 plus 8 or 6 minus 8? What am I doing?
6 minus 8
Yeah, so what is it?
and negative 2g.
It's the same thing, yeah. So I get -2g. And then -8 and -3.
Negative 11.
Ah, -11. So if you chose B, which was the other popular answer, right? Answer choice B was pretty popular. If you chose B, maybe you added instead of subtracting, which means you forgot to distribute the negative. So very important that when you have a minus sign, we're going to treat it like a negative number, like a -1, and then distribute it. Okay, now questions. Go ahead and send me your questions. I already see one, which one person was asking me, why is it a -1? And it's because of the minus sign. So since there's a minus sign right there, it becomes a negative 1. Any other questions? When are we testing? Okay, somebody asked it in the chat. When are we testing? The 25th and 26th. It's 2 days. 2 days. All right, any other questions? Cool. All right, let's do another one. This one's a little similar, but it's also a little bit more challenging. So I'm gonna put 3 minutes on the clock for this one, and I need you to send me your answers in the chat this time. Go ahead and get started. 3 minutes. My hint is that it is very similar, so whatever we did in the previous question. apply that to this question. About a little bit less than halfway through. So very similar to the previous question, yes. Minus sign becomes a negative. So it depends, because two letters of number is equal to positive times a negative. Negative. But if this was negative, negative. Good, thank you for your answers, guys. Nice. I'm seeing lots of correct responses. Don't forget to combine like terms. All right, 25 seconds remaining. Well done, Wenchley, Alyssa, good job, guys. Andy. All right, that's time. All right, I tried to get to everybody, but I couldn't get to everybody. But let's check now to see if you got it right. So like I said, this one's very similar. So the negative sign, the minus sign, becomes a -1, and then you have to distribute the -1. Now when you do that, we're going to distribute the 3, and then we're going to distribute the -1. So let's start with distributing the 3. What do I get? Who would like to share?
9K squared.
9K squared.
Keep going.
-12K
Plus 18.
plus 18.
Good. So negative 12K because we have a -4. Now, on the other hand, when I distribute the -1, go ahead and say it. What do I get?
Negative 8K squared.
Square. -K or -1K and -3.
Good. Minus K and -3. So that K can be a 1K if you prefer, because sometimes some people like to write the 1 because it helps you to like visualize how to add and subtract. Now we combine like terms. So what are 2 like terms I can combine?
K squared.
Yeah, the 9k squared and the negative 8k squared. What do I get when I combine those?
1K
K
squared.
squared.
1k squared. So it's 9 minus 8. Yes. Oh, okay. So I get 1k squared or just k squared. All right. What are the other two that I can combine, full? Negative.
Negative 12K. Negative
Good.
K.
Negative 12k, negative 1k. And what do I get? Negative 12 minus 11. Minus 1, I'm sorry. Minus 1.
Negative 13K.
Careful. We have a negative. Negative 13, yeah. That's okay. And then finally, 18 minus 3
15.
is 15. It's 15 because we're subtracting. Did you add? Oh, you thought it was a 19. No, it's an 18. Okay, so that was our final answer. K squared minus 13k plus 15. So let's see. Let me look through the chat because I did get a lot of correct responses. So shout out to those who got it right. Shout out to Daniela. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Maria. Shout out to the Juan. Shout out to Samantha. Shout out to Alyssa and Wensley and Cassie. Nice job, guys. And if you didn't get it wrong, that's okay. That's why we're here. We're going
May-
over things. We're learning. So
Was that all the people who got it right?
yes.
So like 2 boys only?
Yeah, I don't know. Looks like it.
What about like the people in person, like Cole?
They're included in that list. So how do we feel? Any questions on this one? Any questions? Okay. Next up. Very similar, well, not a similar question. This is a little different. But before we start this one, can anyone tell me what is the strategy that we are going to use? Say it nice and loud. What was it?
There's a foil and another option.
Foil.
Foil, good, foil, and then maybe you'll have to combine like terms. Start it out, 3 minutes, very similar. Send me your answers in the chat, please. I'm sorry, Mark. All right, coming down to the last 10 seconds. 10 seconds on your answers. Good, guys. Yep. So if you don't hear from me, that means you got it right, because I'm only responding to anyone who got it wrong. Sorry, I don't have time because so many people got it right. I don't have time to respond to everybody. Okay, that's everyone. Here we go. 2x minus 3 times 5x plus 6. When I FOIL, what comes first? What is the?
First,
Yeah, first is first. 2x times 5x. And what do you have to remember when you multiply two x's together? What happens?
They
x
squared.
squared.
Square it. So this is 10x squared. Then what?
Really, what happens is you combine the exponents split normally when it's just x by itself. It's 1.
Yep,
so
when you
it's
add, when you combine the two exponents, when you multiply the two exponents, you add their, no, sorry, let me explain that again. When you multiply two terms, you have to add their exponents together. So this is 2x to the power of 1 times 5x to the power of 1, so it becomes 10x to the power of 2. Okay, then I do 2x times 6, what's that? Positive 12x, good. Then, negative 3 times 5x. Negative 15x, good. And then finally, negative 3 times positive 6. A negative times a positive is a negative. Okay, combining like terms, I have 12x and I have negative 15x.
which
So what
would
is
be
12 take away 15?
3. Yeah, 3.
Negative 3, good. 10x squared minus 3x minus 18. Here are my shout outs. Here are my shout outs. Here we go. A lot of people got this one. Dejuan, shout out Dejuan, and Maria, and Daniela, and Andy, and Christopher, and Wenchley, and Samantha, and Alyssa, and Chloe, and Zakaya, just one off. You're really close.
Where my boys at?
Where are your boys at? I don't know. Well, there's also not that many boys in this class,
Yes.
if you notice.
Oh yeah, you have like 3.
All right.
Those are mostly boys. Well, no, technically we're even, you got the teacher.
That's true. Okay. Next one is, I would say, a little bit more challenging, but here's my question. I'm going to show it to you. I want you guys to tell me if you want to do it together or if you want to try it by yourself first. Read it carefully. I'll give you guys 30 seconds and then tell me what you would prefer.
Yeah, together.
Together? You want to do it by yourself? You want to try? Okay. Here's what I'll do. I'll give everybody a minute to just set it up for yourself and try to start it by yourself, and then we'll pick it up together from there. So 1 minute of alone time starts now. Go ahead. who sometimes would watch you guys. She's like short, kind of like my height.
Oh, I know.
She what? Yeah. All right, that's time. So if you started it out and you want to finish it on your own, go for it. But if you want to do it together, just watch the board. So they give us the formula and they're basically asking you to fill it in because we're looking for the area. So if I'm filling it in, what would be the height? What's H? It's 4.
Four.
Good.
4.
What's B1?
X minus 3.
Square, x minus 3.
X plus X minus 3 is B1. And B2, we're adding it.
It's X minus 7. X plus 7.
Good, X plus 7. So all I did so far is just fill everything in. And now I just have to try to simplify it a little bit. So if I'm simplifying, what's one thing that I can do to simplify this, to make it a little bit easier to read?
Distribute.
Multiply
Multiply. What can I multiply?
the 1/2 and the 4.
Yeah. Let's multiply that 1/2 and the 4. What's 1/2 times 4?
2.
2.
Okay.
Hey, did you say it at the same time?
You did say it at the same time. What else can I do?
Distribute.
I can distribute. Let's go ahead and do that. Now, at this point, you can distribute, or what's another thing you could do right now? Does everybody just want to?
Combine like terms.
Yeah, you can also combine like terms. Both ways, you should get the same answer, but let's go ahead and distribute. So I'm distributing it to everything. What do I get when I distribute? Go ahead and shout it out.
You get 2x,
Uh-huh.
negative 6,
Minus 6. Uh-huh.
2x, and you get thingamajig. You get 14.
14, yeah. Don't forget that we're multiplying. Yeah. Okay, then you can combine like terms. So combining like terms, 2x,
4x.
so I got 4x. Negative 6 plus 14,
8.
positive 8. 4x plus 8, that's my answer.
I'm intrigued. They told us that.
See, Miss, I realized what it was once you said distribute,
Uh-huh.
because I was thinking of like adding. I still had foiling in my mind. I was like, okay, well, it's gonna be C or D, and then I realized you said distribute. I was like, oh, I can do that.
Okay, so yeah, in this problem, C and D would be, obviously they're wrong, but that would be what you get if you had foiled by accident. So notice the difference. If I have parentheses like this, then you're foiling. But I didn't have parentheses, did I? I was just adding. So no foiling, so no x squareds anywhere. Questions on this one? That wasn't too bad, right? That wasn't too bad, even if it looks scary to begin with, as long as you read it carefully and have a plan.
Because like 6th grade area, just stuff like that.
Yeah, but the formula for area, you don't have to memorize it. They gave it to you. So that's the big difference. You don't have to memorize any of those formulas this year. All right, next up. Let me see what I have. Oh yeah, this is good. Okay. So this one's different because this one is an equation. So for this one, I should see final answers should look something like this. X equals blank. So go ahead and try this one on your own, 3 minutes. Go ahead. Oh, all right, guys, that's time. If you have it, send it. If you don't have it, pause where you are and we'll do it together. If you have an answer for X, go ahead and send it now. I see it from Daniela, Dejuan, good job. Alyssa, good job. Anybody else? Okay, we got to review this, don't we, huh? Let's check it out. So this is an equation. This is an equation, so it's different. This time we're actually solving for X. And anytime you have an equation, you're going to be moving things around. Things are going to go from one side to the other. We're going to move it to the left side. We're going to move it to the right side until we get X by itself. Rosmani, good job. You got it. Now, before I start moving stuff around, what's the first thing I have to do? Distribute. Let's go ahead and distribute. Okay, so everything else comes down. So my 20x comes down. Negative 5 times 6, negative 30x. Negative 5 times 4,
Negative 20.
negative 20. Good. Now I look at this and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have a lot of x's. There's a lot of x's all over the place. What should I do with them? 20x and 30x, we're going to combine like terms. So what's 20 minus 30? 20, take away 30. Negative 10, good. So I have negative 10x minus 20 equals 4x minus 6. But what's my problem now? What's the issue? I've got x's on the left side. I've got x's on the right side. Where do they all need to be? On one side. And it, my opinion, now you can do it either way. You can move it all to the right left side, or you can move them all to the left side. But I always like to move things to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left, like Beyonce. So we're gonna move things to the left, because if you move everything to the right side, it's kind of backwards. So if you move everything to the left side, you're on the right side. Okay. So if I want to move this 4x to that side, what do I do to it to get it there?
Subtract.
Subtract, yeah. So it's minus 4x. And I'm putting it under the 10x because those are the like terms. What's, but you're taking it away. You're taking it away, making it smaller, yeah. Right, in your head, you're gonna add those two numbers, but it's negative.
Yeah.
So what do you get? So what do you get? Positive or negative? Negative. Negative 14x minus 20 equals negative 6. Okay, but I still don't have x by itself. What else has to go to the opposite side? The negative 20, yeah. How do I move the negative 20 to the other side? We add it, yeah. Okay, now I have negative, hold on, let me erase that. Okay, now I have negative 14x equals, what's negative 6 plus 20? Positive 14, good. And now I'm really close. Now I just have to get rid of the coefficient. And anytime you have to get rid of the coefficient, what operation do you use? We divide. Good. Divide by negative 14. 14 divided by negative 14. A positive divided by a negative gives me a negative. So what do I get? Negative 1. X equals negative 1. So congratulations, shout out to Rosmani and Alyssa and DeJuan and Daniela. But obviously a lot fewer people this time than last time. So that means a lot more people needed a little bit of a refresher. Do I have any questions from those who did not get the right answer? It's a little easier when you go step by step, right? Why are you saying in what step? So over here. So here. So this was 20x minus 30x because I had a negative 5 times positive 6 gave me negative 30. So when I combine them in my head, I have to do 20 minus 30. And when I have 20 and I take away 30, I get negative 10. Does that make sense? Okay, any other questions? Cool. So now let's make things interesting. Try this one out. What's the difference here? What do I have in this case? Less than, yeah, this is a less than or equal to sign. Do I really need to do anything differently than my equation? No. We're basically going to solve this pretty much using the same steps, but just pay attention to that symbol because sometimes the symbol flips. I'm not going to tell you when, but just see what happens. Just start solving it the same way. I'll put another 3 minutes on the timer, starting now. Go. Similar to the previous one. Just try it on your own. "45 seconds remaining." All right, I'm coming. All right, here we go. So this time I saw a lot more correct answers. Shout out to Chloe, shout out to Andy, shout out to Cole, shout out to Alyssa, shout out to Daniela, shout out to Dejuan. Who else? Okay, good. Sakaya, shout out. She had it. I think I got everyone else. Good. All right. So let's check it out. First, I distribute. If you still have an answer, you can still send it to me. I'll shout you out. When I distribute, I get 6x minus 3 is less than or equal to 4x plus 7. Well, remember what I said. Should I be going to the right, or should I be going to the left? To the left. So which one has to move? The 4x has to go that way. So I use what operation? Subtraction. Good. Minus 4x minus 4x. Okay. 6 minus 4 gives me 2x. And bring down that 7. Now what has to move? The 3.
The
So
7.
so to move it over, I gotta add. 7 plus 3? Just 10.
10.
Good. And then finally, what do I do to both sides? Divide by 2. Good. When would the sign flip? In this case, it doesn't. So the only time when the sign is going to flip is if you divide by a negative number. So in this case, I divided by positive number, no flipping. So this is my final answer. X is less than or equal to positive 5. Okay, here are some questions from the chat. Why is it a 3 and not a 2? So remember, when you distribute, what operation am I doing here when I distribute? Multiplication. So when you distribute, it's 3 times negative 1, not 3 minus 1. How do I decide which side to go to? For me, I always move my variables to the left. If you went to the right, I will show you what happens. But before I do that, does anyone need to copy it down? Okay, can I erase? Okay, let me show you what happens if you move everything to the right instead of the left. So in this step, let's say that I did this. I did negative 6. Okay. If I did that, it wouldn't be wrong. But now I'm on the wrong side because my inequality needs to be x less than 5, not the other way around. So if I keep solving this, let's just see what happens. Now I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. So I have negative 10 and then negative 2x. I have to divide by negative 2. And when I divide by negative 2, what happens to my symbol? It flips. So I end up with 5 is by a negative, yeah. I end up with 5 is greater than or equal to x. Well, that's the same thing.
That's the same thing as saying it's x is less than.
Yeah, it's the same thing as saying x is less than 5. It's just that it's backwards. And when it's backwards, you might not realize that your symbol is actually facing the wrong way. So when you're solving an equation or an inequality, just get into the habit of moving everything to the left side so that you don't have to deal with this at the end. Make sense? For that person who asked the question? Just do it like Beyonce says. she's not gonna lead you in the wrong direction. Okay. That was a funny joke. Nobody laughed. Okay, so next one, let me see, what time is it? I will come back to this one if we have time, but I wanna do this one. Whoa, I know. That's a little more challenging, huh? I got all these
I
fractions.
hate fractions.
Oh, I hate fractions too. I
just want to turn them into decimals.
I probably hate fractions more than you do, if you can believe that.
Probably.
Which is why when I see fractions, the first thing I want to do is get rid of them. That's always going to be the first thing you do. Now, what operation helps me to get rid of fractions?
Multiplication.
Multiplication, yeah. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply everything by what number?
One.
What number will help me get rid of my fractions?
2.
Not 2.
6.
6. Good. How'd you get 6? Where do you look? On the bottom.
The denominators.
Yeah, you look at the denominators and you pick the biggest one. So in this case, 6 is the biggest number. We're going to multiply everything times 6. So I want everyone to start with that. That's my clue. Multiply everything times 6 and then go from there. I'll put 4 minutes on the clock for this one. Go ahead and get started. So fraction times a whole number. That is a V. Yes, that is a V. Good for you. A whole number times a fraction. How do I do that? Okay, so I heard 2 ways. Times the numerator and then divide by the denominator. So that's one way to do it. So 6 times 5 gives me 30, and then 30 divided by 6 gives me 5. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it, the 6 is really 6 over 1. And now I'm doing the numerator. So 6 times 5, 1 times 6, 30 divided by 6. Just a little review, see if you need it. Yeah, you did the same thing. This is one way. Yeah, that was that step shows you the middle step.
Wait.
Of what you're doing.
That's 6x.
That's just 6 times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Put the x, I'm like, uh-oh.
sorry, that's not, yeah, that's not 6x, it's just 6 times. 6 times everything. There you go. Oh, let me make this a poll. I'm sorry. That's a lot easier, isn't it? Okay, put your answer in the poll for this one. You still have a minute and a half. So keep-
I'm multiplying 6 by everything, even after the greater than.
Yes, yes. If you're still working, keep working. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Okay, so that is time. So if you have an answer, put it in 5 seconds. Even if you got to guess, put something in. 5, 4, 3. Treat it like a test. If you got to guess, you got to guess. 2, 1. Nice. Okay. Let me share. So we were kind of all over the place, but A did win, and A is in fact the correct answer. So let's check it out. So first thing is we had to multiply everything times 6. What is 6 times 5/6? Oops, sorry. Not 5.
It was 6 times 5/6.
There we go. 6 times 5/6. What does that give me?
5.
5. Good. Who can explain how you do that?
30 divided by 6.
Right. So how'd you get 30?
We
Multiply
those
the,
6 with
the
five.
numerator.
Good. So we multiply it by the numerator. 6 times 5 is 30. And then you divide by the denominator. So that's how we get 5. How about once, let me do it here on the side. What would you get when we do 6 times 2/3? Do the same thing. Multiply by the numerator. You get
4.
4.
it's-
and 4 is your final answer.
It's 12/3.
12 divided by 3. Yep. Okay, let me fill it all in. So that means I have 5b plus 6 times 25 is 150. 6 times 20 is 120. And then here we get 4b. Now I'm no more fractions. They are all gone. They're all gone, which is good, right? It's a lot easier. Now I just need to move all my variables to the left. So what do I do?
Subtract 4.
Subtract 4b. Marco, make sure you're writing this part down. Andy, stop bothering. Okay. So 5 minus 4 gives me
V by itself.
b by itself, 1b. Okay. My sign stays the same. Now what do I do to both sides?
Subtract 150.
Subtract 150. What's 120 take away 150?
Negative 30.
Negative 30. Did I divide by a negative number at any point? No.
No.
Is my sign going to flip at any point? No. So this is it. B is greater than or equal to. Yeah, there's no division anywhere. There's no division. The only time the sign flips is if you divide by a negative number. You're under pressure. That's what happens on a test. That's why we're doing 2 weeks of boot camp, so you can be used to that feeling of being under pressure. Any questions? Any questions? Good, good. All right. Let's see, we got 4 more. Oh, guys, we are doing great on time. This is awesome. Let's do some challenge ones, shall we? So this is, does anyone remember what these are called? These are equations that have more than one variable in them. Starts with an L. You weren't here yet when we learned it. These are literal equations. So what does that mean? That means that you have more than one variable, so you're never going to get a final answer because no matter what, there's always going to be another variable somewhere. But what you can do with literal equations is you can move them around in order to isolate one of the variables. So if I want to get, this one's an easier one. So do you guys want to try it by yourself first, or would you like a good explanation? Do it together. Okay. if you know how to do this, go for it. Send me your answer in the chat. You can go ahead of me. Otherwise, go ahead and watch me. So this is telling us to solve for B. So that means I need to get B all by itself. Well, if I want to get B all by itself, what's in the way? The 12C is in the way.
You could subtract it, and it's subtracted from
Okay, well, so
the nine.
since,
You can't even-
no, but you're on the right track. So 12C has to go to the other side. We agree?
Yeah.
Gotta go. The only way to move it to the opposite side is by subtracting it. So I'm gonna subtract 12C from both sides. Now I'm left with 5B. Can I just do, okay, 9 minus 12, that's -3? Can I do that?
No,
No, why not?
because one has a variable and the other one's a constant.
Exactly. One has a variable, one does not. So we're not gonna actually combine them. I'm just gonna keep them separate. So this is 9 minus 12C. You see what I did there? Just put them right next to each other. Well, now I'm almost at the end, but in order to get B completely by itself, what do I have to do to both sides?
Divide by 5.
Divide by 5. Exactly. So everything gets divided by 5. And I get B equals 9 minus 12, C over 5. So that's answer choice D. So do you guys, so this, like I said, this is a pretty easy example. So does anyone have any questions on this one before I give you guys a more challenging one? No questions? All right, here we go. Challenge question. coming
Miss, I
up.
have a question.
Go for it.
Why didn't you put the -12C first?
Okay, good question. I could have if I wanted to. You could really do it both ways. So here's what Samantha's asking. Over here at this point, you can write it 2 different ways. You can write, like I did, 9 minus 12C, or you could have written it -12C plus 9. Both are correct. But when I looked at my answer choices, I noticed that they wrote it this way. So that's why I kept it that way. Make sense? Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Would C be
Okay,
is
good.
it wrong though?
Hold on. Would C be wrong? Yes, because if you write it this way, it would be -12C. You see that?
Oh, you're right. I can't see it.
And this is +12. And then another question I got is, can you divide by 9? Well, if I divide by 9, what's 9 divided by 9? 1. And am I any closer to getting B by itself? No, in fact, now I'm further away from getting B by itself. So that wouldn't really be helpful. Any other questions? Okay, let's try a harder one. Let's see what happens. Let me decide which one I want to give you. Hold on, because I have 2 possibilities.
But it looks-
This looks easier?
It's not.
Actually, this one's not that bad. Yeah, go ahead and try this one. There's more than one correct response, but this time we're solving for B. Go ahead. Very similar, yeah. So move things around until you get B by itself. Well, in this case, which has your B by itself, right? So that means which one should- that's C. Okay, and then- okay, so put that there. What has to be correct?
Wait, then what I see moving is all of those over there. and add it.
Oh, when you move the 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you guys struggle for 2 more minutes.
Oh, the agony.
The agony. Remember that we're solving for B. When you know what you're solving for, you want to do everything else out.
Subtract spot.
The guy is on the same step. Subtract the five. Why do you need to subtract? You're not solving for A. All right. That one's a little bit of a struggle, huh? Okay, so let's do this one together because there's more than one correct answer. So there's more than one way to do the problem. So let's check it out. So I know that I have to solve for B. If I have to solve for B, let me just make some space here. Okay. If I have to solve for B, well, that means that I got to make sure that all my B's are on the same side. So what's one thing that I can do? All my B's have to be on the same side of the equation.
You can subtract 9b.
I can subtract 9b, yep. Now, there's more than one way to do this problem. So if you did it a slightly different way, that's as long as you're following the steps correctly, you should get the same answer. Okay, 5 minus 9. What does that give me?
-4.
-4. Because for you, you moved it to the right side, but that's okay. You should still get the same answer. Okay. All right. Well, I need to get B by itself. So who else has to move to the left, to the right side?
4a squared.
4a squared. How do I move that to the other side?
You subtract.
We're going to subtract, yeah. So it's minus 4a squared minus 4a squared. But on the right side, are those like terms?
That's why you just say
No.
No. Right. So I'm just going to keep it as -7c minus 4a squared. And I'm almost there. I have to get b all by itself. So what else can I do to both sides?
Divide by -4.
Good. Divide by -4. Okay. Now, when I do that, here's what I get. But the issue is this doesn't really look like any of my answer choices, does it? But which answer choice does it kind of look very close to? It looks pretty close to C, yeah. What answer choice can I definitely cancel out?
What do you mean C? They all say B.
I can cancel out answer choice A, yeah. Because answer choice A has the wrong denominator, so I know that one's out. Answer choice C looks pretty similar. So let's take a look at how can I change my answer a little bit to make it look like answer choice B. What did answer choice B do a little differently? Answer choice B. I mean C, sorry, C. Yeah, the other way, right? Okay, so in mine, I have negative 7c minus 4a squared, but I can just switch those around, can't I? I can just switch the order. So I'm gonna rewrite this. I'm gonna put negative 4a squared first and then negative 7c. So now they're in the right order. But notice that I have negatives on the top and negatives on the bottom. And what do we know about a negative divided by a negative? A negative divided by a negative becomes a positive. So I can just go straight across and turn all my negatives into positives. So now I match with answer choice C. So I know C is in. Then answer choice B, they took the square root. Is there any reason to take the square root?
Not much.
No.
Nope. So B's out. D has the wrong what? Wrong denominator and the wrong. Yeah, it looks like they switched the 7 and the 4. So that one's out. And I know I have to pick at least 2 answer choices. So I think it's going to be E. Now, how do I get to that answer? I'll show you.
Oh, you
Okay.
like, I believe you like divide the 4.
Yeah. So let me see how we did this. So what they did is they basically split it up into 2 parts. They did 4a squared divided by 4 and 7c divided by 4. But 4a squared divided by 4, the 4 cancels out. So I'm left with a squared plus 7c over 4. So E is also true. So it was answer choice C and E. But this one was definitely a challenge question. So if you feel a little bit like you were lost on this one, if you got C, if you were able to know that it was answer choice C, that's good. If you weren't so sure, you didn't get that it was also E, don't feel too stressed out. As long as you got C, that's really good. So does anyone have questions on that part? Okay. All right, guys, you think we can do one more? I'm seeing the sleepies. We're getting a little sleepy in here. No? You guys we can do one more? You can handle it? Okay, one more. The one that we skipped, I'll go back to it.
Oh.
Oop.
Good afternoon, Jaguars. Hope everyone has a Jaguar Friday. Here's today's afternoon announcement.
Uniform policy. It is mandatory for all students to wear uniform. Rule captain cancels the appropriate grade level photos. Grade 6 white photo, grade 7 blue photo, grade 8 red photo. Student ID is also a part of your uniform. So please remember to have some visible around your neck. Hoodies and hats are not a part of the uniform policy. The uniform policy will be enforced.
CDC guidelines, students, faculty, and staff, please remember that it is mandatory for everyone to wear a mask at all times. Your mask should cover your nose, mouth, and chin. Again, please remember to wear your mask at all times. FSA take test. Students, it is imperative that you check your email there. You'll be notified of your FSA testing date and time. If you do not know how to access your email, please seek help from one of your teachers. Teachers, please take your time to show students how to access the email. Thank you.
Overtime Youth Center. Come join the Overtime Youth Center program here at Jose de Diego Middle School. Recruitment is happening now for all grade levels. Our program offers in-school and after-school services, homework assistance, summer programming, field trips. If you are interested in joining, please visit the OIC office, room 005. We are located in the first floor next door to the nurse. 5,000 role models. All 5,000 role models participants, please dress down tomorrow. Wear your black pants, white long sleeve shirt, and red tie. There will be a virtual field trip tomorrow, and if you are not in the appropriate attire, you will not be able to participate in the virtual field trip. Again, if you do not dress down tomorrow, you will not be able to participate in the virtual field trip. Thank you. That is all for today's afternoon announcement. And have a good day.
All right. So if you did it already, good. But if you weren't sure how to start this question, how do I get rid of fractions again?
Multiply.
I'll explain. We multiply. We multiply by the biggest denominator. Well, in this case, what's my biggest denominator? My only denominator? 2. So all I have to do is multiply by 2 on both sides. So make sure you do it on both sides. So that's my clue. Yep, that's my clue. Go ahead and start it if you didn't do so yet. 2 minutes. We'll go over it and then we'll be done. Go ahead. So what happens when you multiply by 2? What's 8 next? Multiply by something and divide by the same number. Yeah, so this is it, and then 30 more seconds. Put it in the poll when you have it. 30 more seconds. All right, 10, 9, 8. Right now we're tied between 2 answer choices. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we were tied between A and C, but then one person came in clutch and they got us for answer choice A. So answer choice A is the correct answer. But since we were so close, I just want to make sure we see how we get that answer. Here we go. What happens when I multiply by 2? What happens to the 2's?
Okay, it's like at the end, like it's not 16, we have 16, you can make it with additional.
No, you want to keep it. I'll get to that at the end. I'll explain that at the end. Okay. So what happens to the 2's? These right here?
They cancel.
They cancel out. Yeah. That's the whole point of multiplying by 2 is that's going to help us cancel out the fraction. Well, now I'm left with x plus 4. I don't need parentheses anymore. And then here I have to distribute. So here I get 4x minus 12. Now I get all my x's to the same, not 4x, I'm sorry, 8x minus 12. Now I got to get all my x's to the same side. So what can I do to both sides?
Subtract 8x.
Good. Minus 8x minus 8x. This is 1x minus 8x. What's 1 minus 7? What? What's 1 minus 8? My bad. Negative 7. Good. So I have negative 7x plus 4 equals negative 12. Now what do I do to both sides? Subtract the
You
4.
have to subtract 4.
Yeah. What's negative 12 minus 4?
Negative 16.
Good. Now what do I have to do to both sides? Divide by negative 7. 6. Negative divided by a negative becomes a positive. So I get positive 16 over 7. Now, here is Cole's question. He was asking me, can I just turn it into a mixed fraction? Because technically 16 over 7 is 1 and 2 sevenths. No, 2 and 2 sevenths. Yeah. But the answer to that question is no, because yeah. So the reason you won't do that is because in algebra, specifically in algebra class, we always keep things as improper fractions. Okay.
Good afternoon.
All right.
Another reminder, find out the role model participant. Please dress down tomorrow in your black pants, white shirt, and red tie in order for you to participate in your virtual filter tomorrow. Again, 5,000 role model participants. Please dress down. If not, you will not be able to participate in the virtual filter tomorrow. And at this time, third floor is dismissed.
All right, so as a final reminder, I am putting up homework for you that will be due on Friday. But if you didn't do the homework that was due on Friday this past week, you still have the chance to get it done. The only thing is, what happens if you turn in your homework late?
Lower grade.
Bring it down by 1 grade. So if you earn an A, you get a B. If you earn a B, you get a C, so on. A lot of students did not complete their homework last week. So I need y'all to be more on top of it, especially as we get closer to the EOC. So with all that, have a great day. I'll see you later. Melanie, yes, you can stay. Everyone else, goodbye.
Bye,
Bye.
miss.
Miss.
Bye, guys. Bye, bye, bye.